Alright, here we are for round 2. Looks like we have lost the die roll. I like this hand. 4 lands, 2-drop, 3-drop Siege Worm. I don't know, it's just solid with a top end. I don't think there's a world where I mulligan this unless I already know my opponent's playing and for some reason want to. Yeah, so more lands is not ideal, but at least now with the, just the cards in my hand, I can cast Siege Worm on turn 5. Alright, so we're placing against red-blue, which has got to be better against my deck than black-red. Unless my opponent had Flesh to Dust last game that they just didn't draw, because bounce spells are going to be good against my giant creatures. Not very good against Twin Grove. And everybody seems to have Krankos Enforcers. So I'm going to go ahead and attack, just because I don't know if my opponent's going to want to trade 3 damage for 2, but I certainly don't have a way to block his guy. Sweet. So I'm going to play Forests because I have this Twin Grove. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass. Now, what I'll probably do next turn is just play this Midnight Guard. I won't have enough for Siege Worm. We'll see what I draw. And I can't block. Trying to conserve a little more time this game, although my opponent took a while to show up, so I do get a free little bit ahead. Aeronaut Tinkerer. Sunblade Elf. That's an interesting one. I can actually play that and Midnight Guard. So the question is, should I hold it until I can leave up the ability? I don't think so. I think it's fine to just play it, and then that way I can actually be insured to have it up next turn, which is really good. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'll play this. So do I want to attack with both of them? I think so, because if my opponent blocks there, then whatever. I mean, yeah, I'll just attack with both. I could get blown up by crowd's favor, but I mean, it's not really a blowout. Okay, yeah, so it looks like my opponent's just going to take 3, which is fine. Yep. And I'm going to play Midnight Guard, leaving up green for the Sunblade Elf. Always yield. Play Sunblade Elf. Alright, so this is a pretty powerful start. I mean, I guess it would have been a lot more powerful if I'd started with the Sunblade Elf, but so, alright, so my opponent's going to attack for 2. I am going to play around Ether Spouts, because that would be horrible if my opponent had Ether Spouts. I think what I'm just going to do is attack with these 2, and then I'll leave up the mana my opponent wants to block. Oh, okay, never mind, I'm not going to. Another Krankos Enforcer. Now that's scary, because that means that I have 4 turns. That's it. Alright, so I could play Siege Worm here. I have 9 mana. I could play Colonial Twin Grove, leave up Titanic Growth. I think the first thing I want to do is Alpha. Because I don't see a lot of ways to get blown out by Alpha-ing. He could block this, but no. He would have to double block the Sunblade Elf to kill it if I pump. So I think Alpha-ing is correct here. And the first time I get hit for 2 with this is not that not much. And I can't play Siege Worm or Twin Grove if I do this, so I couldn't play Twin Grove anyway. But that's okay with me. I could leave up 1. No, because I have 5. Yeah, so I'm just going to Alpha. I think that this is just really... I'm probably going to pump no matter what my opponent does here. Sure, double block to kill the Sunblade Elf. Or no, he's just going to force the pump. Okay, you got it. I'm going to pump. Okay. I really don't know what my opponent's plan here is. I mean, my opponent is now basically super dead. Super dead, I think, is a pretty good way to describe it. I mean, I need to connect with 2 creatures, and I have 4. My opponent has 2 blockers. If my opponent decides to play another creature so that they are not dead on board, well, I also have this Titanic Growth. If my opponent leaves up any significant amount of mana, I'm not just going to go for it with a Titanic Growth, because I'm so far ahead at this point, I don't think it's worth it. But the fact that my opponent has to leave back his Krankos Enforcers puts me in a really good spot. And even if he plays another creature, I'm probably just going to Alpha anyway. But I'm not going to Titanic Growth whatever's unblocked, just because I think it's going to be lethal, because if my opponent has a removal spell, then I'm just in a much worse spot. Generator Servant, okay. Oh, F7. That'll help. So it looks like my opponent... Well, I guess they're Intimidate, so it doesn't matter. So my opponent is currently in a not dead on board position. Stoke the Flames. Alright. So, if I attack with everything, which I definitely want to do, I can just use Titanic Growth to save something. Alternatively, play Siege Worm. Alternatively, Verdant Haven. I think I want to play Verdant Haven and Titanic Growth, and then I can leave Twin Grove up. So, yeah, because my opponent has to chump 2 creatures. Well, I guess... Okay, so they're tapped out. Yeah, so I'm going to attack. Hopefully my opponent double blocks a Midnight Guard. You know, gets greedy, trades here, or I guess puts a 2-2 here, and then a 2-2 and a 2-1 here. So... Oh, that's me. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's go to blocks, see what my opponent does. My opponent is tapped out. I will, if I do get... Okay, it looks like we're dead. Or my opponent is. Not us. We're not dead. Sign blocking order by dragging creatures left to right. They're the same. And my opponent is tapped out, so I'm going to Titanic Growth. Awesome. So that worked out really well. My opponent has a blue-red deck. Now, notice that there's an Aeronaut Tinkerer. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're playing artifacts. A Generator Servant's pretty good. This is really good. Kranko's Enforcer. My opponent's deck just looks solid, but, I mean, I don't know. I know that the Siege Dragon isn't in the deck, unless they got another one, which would be lame. But my opponent's deck doesn't look particularly aggressive, but they do have Kranko's Enforcers, so definitely want ways to race that. So what we did last time is we took out the Kurd Chieftain and the Meteorite. I don't think I want to do that this time because my opponent's deck is not super aggressive. On the other hand, red-blue is pretty tempo-y. So I think I actually want to take those. Do want to take them out again. And Titanic Growth has just been just very good every single game. I mean, Naturalize, I don't think I want to put in yet. Let's see. Do I want to... Could put in Boomweaver Giant, Marked by Honor. Could just put in Marked by Honor, but not against blue. Swiftclaw seems good against him. I like Swiftclaw. Don't think Plummet's that great. Yeah, Aeronaut Tinkerer exists, but I didn't see a dragon or anything. Could play Undergrowth Scavenger, don't like it that much. Could play Life's Legacy, don't think so. I'll play another Titanic Growth. Seems okay, I guess. Could just play Meteorite. Alright, let's go with this. Well, that's good. Yep, I'll keep... I'm definitely going to start with Spirit Bonds here, even though it does put me a bit behind, because I don't think my opponent is this sort of deck that's just going to really punish me for that. And I do have the double white, so I can go turn 3 Swiftclaw and make a Spirit. Ooh, jeez. Still think I'm going to wait a turn. I think it's worth it. So I'm only going to take 3 damage, and then I can make a 1-1 and then trade off my Swiftclaw. And then the following turn, now that I have enough mana, I can play a Midnight Guard and make a 1-1. That's fine. As long as my opponent doesn't have, like, instant Goblin Rough Rider. Alright, so I think things are looking pretty well, or pretty good. Let's play a Swiftclaw. 100% trading if my opponent attacks. Or at least offering the trade. Well, I guess accepting the trade would really be more apt because my opponent will be offering it. Okay, I mean, they could have something, but that's fine with me because next turn I'm going to have 2 spirits that I can double block if I want. Alright, so I think my opponent just doesn't want me to be able to sack the... Okay, so Kranko's Enforcer, Sunblade Elf, that's really good. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to play Midnight Guard, make a spirit, attack for 1, and then the next turn I can actually play Siege Worm, because I'll have 5 and then 3 creatures. Alternative, I could play these 2. Alternative, I could play this, make a spirit, leave up Spirit Bonds activation. I think Midnight Guard is the best one, so let's attack. Play land, play Midnight Guard. Man, Midnight Guard has been really good, just this whole... I mean, I guess I've been playing against red decks the whole time. So, I don't know. Yep, can't block it. Take the 2, I guess. So, Scrapyard Mongrel? Amp and Path Mage. That's scary. Midnight Guard's good. So is Sunblade Elf. So I could play Siege Worm. 5 isn't that much power when you think about it. I mean, I think I really just need to play these two, make 1 spirit instead of 2. So I missed out on a spirit, but my opponent... So it kind of becomes a 2-turn clock. That seems good to me. So I think I'll attack. My opponent wants to trade. I can sack a spirit. So if that's the case, what I think I might do is... Well, yeah, because I'll be playing this. So, well, no, because then I have to leave 2 mana up. Alright, so I'm going to play Sunblade Elf, make a spirit. And then if my opponent wants to trade, then I can sack the spirit I just made to protect the Midnight Guard. And then if my opponent doesn't trade, offer the trade, which I'm fairly sure that they will not, then I will play the Midnight Guard, untapping my Midnight Guard. Yeah, alright. Okay. Make spirit. Always yield. Alright, so we have the mana. Yes, okay, everything worked out. We're going to attack with these 3. Okay. And play Midnight Guard. F7. Cancel. Cool. So, my opponent can basically do 5 damage to me every turn, so I have a 3-turn clock against me. My damage right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if I pump, then that's 14. Man, that's awkward. That stinks. Maybe I missed a damage early on or something? I don't know. That's unfortunate. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, it's exactly 15. That's pretty cool. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 6. Yeah, so my opponent actually has to block. I have lethal on board. Sunblade Elf is very good. Yeah. Sunblade Elf, it turns out, is very, very, very good. My goodness. So I'm gonna take 5 because I think my opponent won't have anything. Is that true? Yeah. Like, here's the thing: if my opponent has a blocker, then they're not dead, but they definitely can't kill me. They can't play a blocker, then untap and then kill me. I'll be at 10. They would have to. Oh wait, they could actually, because if they play a blocker, then I alpha. No, wait. Yeah, and then they untap, attack for 5, and then Lava Axe, then I'm dead. Okay, so I actually am going to play around Lava Axe, which means that I'm going to block the M15 Path Mage with 1 Midnight Guard, 2 Midnight Guards. What am I playing around? Crowd's Favor, Lightning Strike. What would happen if I block with both? What's bad for me? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so I think I'm gonna block with both. Because I really would like the Path Mage to die, because I would feel a lot more comfortable. Alright, so we drew a land, Into the Void happened. What does that mean? Oh, so he just killed 2 spirits? That's pretty good. I'm glad I blocked that way then. That worked out. Alright, so do we want a Constricting Sliver? Maybe. I could play Siege Worm, and then, let's see, if I tap 2 creatures, then, okay, so if I tap the Midnight Guard and the Spirit, then I can make a Spirit, and then attack with these 2, put my opponent down to 11. And then I can save Constricting Sliver for the next turn, or I can pump. And pumping only does 3 damage right now, so I think that's the play. So let's cast Siege Worm. I'm going to tap these 2, and then leave up white, and then these. I'll get a Midnight Guard trigger, and I will get a Spirit Bonds trigger. And I'll attack my opponent for 4. So I now have, let's see, 9, 10, 11 damage on the board, so perfect lethal. And that's not counting Sunblade Elf Pump here. Yep, can't block. Alright, so things are going pretty well. My opponent only has 5 mana. Another Krankos Enforcer, sure. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, see, my opponent has 2 mana. If I play Constricting Sliver, exile this, then that's lethal. My opponent has to have something. Alternatively, if I swing with everything, I think that's still lethal. My opponent can't kill me with just Lava Axe. Infernal Fist does 4 damage, plus a Lightning Strike, which is be 4, 7, 11, exactly lethal. But my opponent would have to have Heal from Reality, and then I wouldn't be dead. Or Lightning Strike, and then I don't think they have 2 Lightning Strikes. So I think... I think the first thing I want to do is just attack with everything, because I do have this Midnight Guard, and I can at least bluff the pump. And then I can make the decision of whether I want to actually go for the pump after my opponent declares blocks. Okay, blocking the Sunblade Elf, so I actually should probably just pump. So if I pump, my opponent takes 3, 9, 13, and so if they can take care of this or this in response to the pump, like a Lightning Strike on this in response to pump, would be, I'm okay with that. I think that that's an acceptable... Alright. I should have probably lifted green up so that I could leave up green-white, but oh well. Okay, so my opponent did have a peel. That's fine. They're going to take some damage, and then they can't kill me. I cannot come up with a situation where I get killed this turn. I probably would have peeled the... Oh, no, yeah, peeling that one is 100% better. Yeah. Alright, play this land and pass the turn. So my opponent's at 4. Yeah, I think this game is looking good. This is, you know, if my opponent plays some huge blocker, I can use the Constricting Sliver to take care of it for a turn. If not, then I think just alpha-ing is pretty fine, because it means that I have... I have 4 attackers, 2 in the air. I mean, 2... If they're both connect, then that's just it. That's definitely lethal. Or if one of these and one of these connect. Basically, if any 2 creatures connect... Stoke the Flames on my Sunblade Elf. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good. Alright, where's the chat? Alright, well, we did it. So, currently 2-0 in our Swiss M15 draft. I think that we've been getting pretty decent draws, but this deck is also definitely a good deck. It's, you know, I wish it had more triplicate spirits, but you can't always get what you want. So, I'll be back for round 3.